welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, today's video, guys, we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I have not talked about the MCU since before Avengers Endgame, when I was uploading several Avengers Endgame theories, what was going to happen in the movie, all that, because I had a big anticipation leading up to Endgame. I saw a lot of other channels theorizing what could possibly be happening in Endgame and stuff like that. So here we are now, over 2 years later, talking about where we are at with the MCU now. And, yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about it for a random video. I would also like to do a DVD discussion video about the new Killer the Artist that's going to be coming out, tell you my thoughts on her, once she comes out and I start playing with her, stuff like that. Maybe I could even stream over this Thanksgiving break. Today is Thanksgiving, which, that I'm recording on. Today, I already ate my Thanksgiving, meal, and I'm going to be watching the new Resident Evil movie that's coming out. Really, really excited for that. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Maybe I'll do a DVD stream, something like that. I would like to do one, when the artist releases, trying out that new Killer and whatnot. So yeah, those are basically upcoming videos, and now that I think about it, another idea for a video that I could go with is doing an MCU movie tier list, after No Way Home comes out. But yeah, I'll keep those in my head, and just stay tuned for all that. Let's get on to the conversation. So as you can see from the title, MCU has kind of been on a decline since the release of Avengers Endgame, and I don't think it's because the movies are necessarily really bad. It's just people had a huge lead up to Avengers Endgame. I mean, what, over 10 years of anticipation, waiting, just a huge build up to Avengers Endgame that was paid off very, very well. Especially the last third of the movie was just really, really, really great. And I think since then, people have just been on this relief from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they have to wait a whole nother however many phases before we get something like this ever again. And now they're trying to set it up with this new Eternals movie and all that, so I want to kind of talk about it. So let's just go off of the movies that came out after Avengers Endgame. So first we had Far From Home, which happened after Endgame. Although it's in Phase 3, still happened after Avengers Endgame. Very flawed movie. It had definitely a lot of flaws, especially with the villain. He was just another cliche Tony Stark villain. And it seems like the direction that they're going with the Spider-Man in the MCU is kind of another Iron Man in a way. And I really don't like them doing that, because Spider-Man is a completely different character from Iron Man. And it feels like they're trying to bring him down like an Iron Man pathway. Not completely, but only slightly, and I don't really like that. Although, I am excited for No Way Home, but let's keep leading down the trail. So, Far From Home, flawed movie, although I think it is pretty enjoyable. Out of all the movies that have came out from Avengers Endgame so far, I think it is the best one. Then we had Black Widow, which I was not really surprised about. The movie was way too late. That movie should have came out around where Civil War was, and that just didn't happen. Way too late. When you know that a character is dead, there's nothing really more you can milk out of that character. So although I think it was interesting to learn about her backstory, just a very boring movie for the most part when you know that the character's already gonna die. All it really helped with was setting up for the new Hawkeye show that was coming out and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Although, all these new shows that have been coming out for the MCU, I have not watched any of them. Do not plan on watching them. And it feels like I'm at a position where the MCU is... I'm kind of forced to watch all the MCU movies, especially before Endgame. I felt like I was forced to watch all the MCU movies, which, yes, I definitely needed to. But now after the MCU, or after Endgame has happened, now I feel like I'm just forced, and every time I watch an MCU movie after Endgame now, I just wonder why I wasted my time going to the theater this early to watch an MCU movie, just because I feel like I'm forced to watch it. And now they want you to watch these 2-season shows and all this crap, and no, I'm just... the as far as the shows go, I have no planning on seeing that. Yeah, just no plans for seeing the shows or anything. I'm already pretty behind for the shows at least because I haven't seen What If, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki. Don't plan on seeing him personally. So after Black Widow, we had Shang-Chi, which I thought was a pretty decent movie. I think he'll be a pretty interesting character in the MCU. But yeah, decent movie, just your average MCU movie that when you get introduced to a new character, usually isn't that exciting, not usually a big blockbuster. But I did like some of the martial arts fight sequences that were something new in the MCU. Then we had Venom Let There Be Carnage, which, if you ask me, that was a big disappointment. Although it's not directly applied to the MCU, if you watch the end credit scene, you would know now they're going to tie in Venom with the new No Way Home movie, because Venom, at the end of the movie, saw Tom Holland on the TV screen, so we can only assume that he's going to be in No Way Home. But that doesn't excuse the fact that the rest in the movie I thought was a complete disappointment. I think if the movie had at least 30 extra minutes of runtime, it would have been a lot better. That way we could actually get something out of Carnage, but it just felt like a big disappointment. A rushed movie to bring in this big character that a lot of MCU or a lot of Marvel fans love, and just completely disappointed us. And we're never going to be able to relive that character. He's already done for. So, Venom Let There Be Carnage, a huge disappointment for me. The only part, like most of these other MCU movies, that was, I guess, good was helping me anticipate for No Way Home. Then we had Eternals, which was probably the biggest flop of the year. Eternals, I think, got a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not usual for the MCU. When Captain Marvel came out, I think the critics liked it, the audience didn't like it, so it wasn't completely rotten. But for Eternals, the audience and the critics both do not like this movie. Just a big disappointment. They're trying to get us fired up for, the new plans for going into Phase 4 with basically the replacement of the battle for the Infinity Stones. Now it's about the Celestials and all that. The movie, it didn't have it didn't have a lot of Marvel vibes, which is kind of it feels weird that now Marvel movies just are forced not to have Marvel vibes. But this movie, I think, for trying to go in a different direction, they did not succeed. And there's many other issues I could talk about with Eternals, but I refuse to talk about them because they could get a little bit controversial. But then we have No Way Home, which my expectations are very high. I am very, very excited for No Way Home. This is the first movie of Phase 4 where I'm actually very, very excited. I am excited to see them bring back the all of the different characters from these different universes for the Spider-Man movies into the movie. I hope they don't go a little bit too ambitious. I hope they don't fail, because it's a lot to do in one movie to end a trilogy. So you're bringing in all these characters, so I hope they don't get a little bit too over-ambitious with this. I hope they succeed in satisfying the plans or the fans while also making a good movie. I'm mostly excited to see Tobey Maguire come back because I love Bully Maguire memes. So if we get more Tobey Maguire lines in this movie, it is going to be a success for the meme culture. But yeah, that's kind of where I am at with the MCU right now. Not planning on watching any of the shows that have came out or whatever. Still watching the movies, but for the most part, most movies that have came out for Phase 4 have ceased to amaze me. And I feel like I'm forced to watch them, and really early too. And, having good end credit scenes that are supposed to set you up for future movies doesn't excuse the fact that the movie itself was not enjoyable, didn't pay you off very good. So, I think they're rushing too much, trying to set up for future plans while not focusing on making good individual movies in the MCU. I think that's something that they're at a loss for right now. And some of it also, I can't blame it all on them. Some of it also has to do with after Endgame, the MCU is just kind of declined naturally because people are still at a big break for the MCU after Endgame. And to me, it is the finale of the MCU. They can continue making these phases and stuff like that, but the Battle of the Infinity Stones I think will remain probably the best kind of lead up for the MCU that has ever happened. So whatever they're trying to do with the Celestials, I'm up for it. But right now, MCU just continues to cease to amaze me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the MCU. I am excited for No Way Home. Not gonna lie. I hope it's not a disappointment. I don't hope they go a little bit too over ambitious because this is a lot to deal with all the characters that they have to deal with in this movie. So I hope they don't disappoint me. But once No Way Home comes out and I do watch it, I am considering doing an MCU tier list. Just because it will be towards the end of the year, and I feel like it would be a good time to stop and do a nice little MCU tier list for a fun video to make. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to talk about for this commentary video today. Stay tuned for that future content. Read the community post so you can stay updated. I hope you all have a good Thanksgiving. Probably not going to be Thanksgiving when I upload this video. Don't really know yet, but yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that future content. Join the Discord. Link will always be in the description of every video. Other than that, like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you next time.